draft is already off the rails. I'm going to take Bijan.
And talk about off the rails. We started live.
Walk me into Garrett Wilson, and I'll take Garrett Wilson.
Gov, I started
10 seconds. Anyone? You got 10 seconds to say
we are live, Gov. Just to let you know, we are not going to convince you otherwise.
I saw.
I would go Jefferson myself. I'm not surprised you went Robinson, though.
I actually right now have St. Brown and Garrett Wilson ahead of Jefferson. With the Sam Darnold, with the McCarthy news, where I know it's Sam Darnold, I know what Sam Darnold is. Jefferson now takes a kind of a tick. So does Addison. So does taking Hawkinson.
I think that makes sense.
We are experimenting with different ways to start the show and different topics and different ways to structure it. It was just so enticing to actually start right from the beginning because Gov actually offered to do a live draft and kind of give our player takes and our opinions along with him to kind of have some discussion points, just to give you guys another perspective of how someone, because we give you so many drafts where we're drafting as a team. This is a Gov's personal team, and then we just get to give some fodder in the background. So it's a lot less pressure on me, I tell you, not to have to click the buttons.
Well, now, you guys can start looking at, let me get the board up, actually.
Well, let's get our topics that we want to talk about out of the way. In between picks.
You got something. You did have something, right, Donnie? Because I didn't really have...
I did want to talk a little bit about because it has made a lot of headlines. I forget his first name. I think it's Jalen, but it might be Jared Duran. Anyway, the Red Sox player. He got suspended. I'm not sure exactly how long it was. And for those who don't know, it was because he said the F slur to a fan. And because they were heckling. Awful reason. Terrible idea.
Red Sox don't deal with that. You need to be a professional.
Are we losing me or Gov?
What? You can't hear me? What? No?
I'm not sure why he can't hear you, but I do believe it was 2 games, though.
It was okay, so it was 2 games. Yeah, I mean, people are really complaining about something when, if you say that at work, you deserve to be suspended. That's just kind of how it is. He was working in uniform, bad for the team.
Nico in the first round is a little weird.
Yeah, that's awful. Puka goes round 2, which is where I would be taking Puka.
You and I kind of have the same opinion on that, Donnie. It's not so much like what he said. You could obviously say that's political, or you could have a different opinion whether that's appropriate or not. The fact he did it in a professional setting, when if we're all in a professional setting, there's a standard, there's an expectation we have to withhold, and you have to maintain your cool and your emotions in those moments if you're a professional. And he's a professional athlete. So I'm sorry, he does come up with a different standard. It was really, really unfair in some ways because he was horribly provoked. I will say that. The fan was heckling the hell out of it.
My issue with it, the only issue I have with it is, I hate that now the Red Sox and the MLB are acting like they care, like this doesn't happen in their locker room all the time, and we all know it. You have to act like you care because it was caught on TV.
Do I lock up double running back right now, or do I take the wide receiver?
I would go wide receiver. I love Adams
here. I'd go wide receiver.
I'm going to be taking Adams, but the only question is Adams or one of Henry or Kyrie.
I would just go
and
Adams.
Then I have Bijan and one of those.
Welcome back, Evan.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having StreamYard problems tonight. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. You can see I'm also having StreamYard problems as you guys get to stare at Drake May, his beautiful self, all day long.
We just thought preseason just ramp up. We just thought maybe you were trying to show off your fandom. Because you don't usually show off your fandom. You are a Patriots fan, but I actually give you a lot of credit for as much success that they've had. You've not really been one of those boastful fans that drive me nuts. So this is like one of the rare times when people can actually tell you're a Patriots fan, Johnny.
Yeah. I've definitely never done the Cam Newton thing because I'm a Panthers fan.
Hey, we got Cam Newton Jr.
Superman
in the QB room. We got the baby Superman. Joe
I do
Milton.
think.
I was going to say, are you literally referring to Milton the Third? Are you referring to Milton the Third? Well, this slice of New York pizza says you're a bitch by referring to him. Oh my god. Baba goosh.
Well, we're talking about Patriots news. We're talking about other news. I think we should talk a little bit about.
I might still get Henry here on the way
Yeah,
back.
you had to jinx it.
Fuck you. Okay. True. Facts. Valid.
It is the thing I see though in most.
Mike Evans or DJ Moore. I like both of them actually.
DJ Moore for me.
I like them all here.
Yeah, I know. Like I couldn't take anyone.
I'd go Mike Evans
because I trust
Baker. Mike Evans because of Baker instead of Caleb, and we don't know.
I do think Evans has a chance to be like clearly the number one. I think Godwin's kind of fallen off the pecking order with Tampa.
All right, now that I'm through 3 picks,
we're talking a little bit about preseason, what's going on there. Do you want to talk about what Mayo's new protocol is on training camp fights?
I think it goes along with your baseball story, where you just there comes a time where you have a professional decorum. Whether you are emotionally charged, emotionally triggered, there are times where you have to have a certain standard and say, hey. Even though you want to react, even though you might have reason to react, there's still a professional code of conduct that I'm going to withhold. And that's basically what the Boston Red Sox did with the suspension. And that's what Mayo is trying to do with the Patriots, I believe. He's saying he has a zero tolerance. My problem is, though, Donnie, if you're going to have a zero tolerance, I love it personally, but you got to enforce it with a zero tolerance.
We will see if that happens. But I will say it is because I know before with Belichick, if you got into a fight, you would be put in the doghouse for a while, and you were sent home for the day. But this is completely different. To tell a backup, if you fight, you will not get playing time in the preseason. That is not a light threat. That is possibly career ending of a threat.
No, I like that you put it that way, because it is threatening for veterans that are trying to make their last roster spots, or development rookies that might have come in, day 2, day 3, selected rookies. They're coming in fighting for practice squad positioning and stuff like that. And now, I mean, you might kill some competitive edge, but I do like that you're demanding your players have an emotional standard to how much they, like you're there to play football, Donnie. You're not there to, have an MMA style fight. So I do like it.
Fights are a big problem in training camp. I don't know if this is a solution. I guess we'll see if it works 1 year and then teams start doing it, maybe. But I don't think many coaches have the gall to say, if you fight, you're playing preseason.
I'm thinking about taking Lamar here. What do you guys think?
I would love that pick. I love Lamar 4th round.
Is Andrew still there?
Yes.
Yes.
I should be able, ideally, to get one of him or Flowers.
There goes Lamar.
Fuck off.
Oh well.
Well, okay.
Twice?
That guy's pissed because Mahomes went right before him.
Yeah.
He was probably hoping to get Mahomes.
Oh, for sure. He wanted Mahomes.
All right.
Yep.
So I need a running back.
I've been really high in James Cook this year. We've just not taken him because there's slightly better options on the board.
Oh, did you just get auto drafted? Oh.
Well, yeah, but it auto drafted James Cook because he was my top guy.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
I think
my rankings are in here, so I'm not worried about auto draft so much. That's why it's kind of okay to do it in the background. Because at worst, it's just going to go back to my rankings.
Hey, go,
I don't
Logan.
hate this team.
Logan, can we take down the like and sub so we can see more of me?
Yes, there's not enough Evan.
I
More
agree.
Evan.
Is there any other stories that we want to get out of the way? There's been a lot of training camp injuries, stuff like that we haven't really spoke about.
That's
and how we could talk about how that affects
Tracy
certain
going down
things.
today for the Giants, I believe. Yeah.
Tracy went down, but they said it's just a sprained ankle. So at worst, probably 4 to 6 weeks if they're being safe.
That's
the
why I
meniscus
like.
tear on JJ McCarthy is the one that it hurts all of my Minnesota stock right now.
I have a lot
I'm
of
down
Minnesota
on
stock.
Jefferson. I'm down on and I had a lot of Addison. I had a decent amount of Hawkinson because he was going late. Now I don't even like it because it's Darnold. Ugh.
Darnold should at least run the offense
Minnesota's
decently.
gonna suck.
It's going to be decent, but it's not. Oh,
This is going to be a last place in the NFC North team, but their offensive pieces should still be fine.
Another guy that got hurt this recently, Hollywood Brown. I think that's detrimental to the Chiefs' offense. I know Mahomes will figure it out; they'll be fine. But you're starting off the schedule so tough, and now you're without your deep threat that you were kind of hoping was going to be there.
Oh, Hollywood was the third guy, anyways.
There's nothing that tells me he would have been the third guy. He would have been.
Who's your favorite receiver on the board?
If you mentioned it, for me, it would be Rice.
For me, it's Kirk. He's going to get most targets.
Mine's either Kirk or Ridley.
I'm Kirk on that.
No, I'm Kirk too. But just by one spot.
I'm higher on Thomas than most people, I think, from the Jags, receiving group. So I'm obviously lower on Kirk. I've been lower on Kirk.
That's three pretty solid receivers to me: Devontae Adams, Mike Evans,
all solid floor guys. Like you're never going to have a bad receiver week, I think.
Yeah, that's a good floor.
Yeah, Logan. If we could get back to the Chiefs depth chart for a second, right now, unofficially, it's Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy are the top 3 wide receivers. We don't know if Rice is going to get suspended still. Marquise Brown is now going to be out for a while. Worthy just has to stay healthy too. And then behind them is Justin Watson, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, who might even be taking more carries. So they don't really have a lot behind Rashee Rice.
Worthy is the most talented receiver they have.
Allegedly. Allegedly. We don't know yet.
I was about to say allegedly.
He still has to prove his worth in the NFL. So
I would say Rice has the most talent out of everyone, honestly. He's just got the perfect body. He's got the speed. I love his talent.
Anybody investing in Travis Kelce need not worry. He's still going to be the top dog for a little while longer.
I'm worried about his age. That's all I care about. He's old. They want to step him down a bit.
I'm not. Jason Witten played until he was like 40.
Maybe that's also
Tony
why
Gonzalez, if you got the big body and you're willing to run, you can play a long time. Gronk could still be playing if he really wanted to.
Yeah, because Gonzalez retired at 38.
But it's a different workload than normal tight ends. He relies so much on his athleticism, unlike the Wittens and the Gronks. He's just a special talent.
Well, if that's the case, then that means he can still just coast into what the Witten and Gronks did as he ages, which should allow him to go longer in his career.
I agree with that. And I also view...
But I think, after one more Super Bowl, what the hell would be left? Just go home and make Tay-Tay babies.
And he's gonna make historic money on the podcast. I don't know how many.
Oh yeah, they're doing the podcast. It's
right, but they're actually actively negotiating a new contract deal. They're about to go pretty much exclusively. It seems like with a podcast platform and get paid handsomely. So I could see him only playing a couple more years, but I would view, and I do view, I should say, any offensive weapon on your team. I don't view a position. I don't look at wide receivers, tight ends. So to me, Travis Kelce is the best receiving option that the Chiefs have, and so you have him, Rice, and Worthy. I don't think they miss Hollywood Brown. Hollywood's an add-on if they can get him later in the year, but I don't think that 4 to 6 weeks is a big deal.
I think it is because they need somebody else behind. So assuming Rashee Rice can play, they need wide receivers.
Logan, this is a question just for you. Zamir White, Rashad Stevenson, DeAndre Swift. Who do I take?
Stevenson or White?
I'll take White then.
All right.
New England and Chicago bias. I'm not asking you guys. I'm asking Logan.
I mean, I think you took the worst of the three, though.
I would have said personally, I would have went either Stevenson or Swift because you already invested in the offense of the Raiders with Adams. I didn't want. I think you have a lot of stock in the Raiders now that I don't trust.
Yeah, because we know Stevenson is going to get a lot.
I don't know if Stevenson can stay healthy.
Gov, was this on purpose where you would actually target an AOC at the end of your drafts?
I was looking right now at my team that I'm building.
Right.
And I needed a running back because I realized I fucked up and James Cook and Bijan have the same bye week. So I needed to get a solid third running back right then and there. Zamir White will at least be playing, barring injury, which I don't expect on anyone.
That's the stuff I enjoy.
I also have a lot of Stevenson, so I kind of wanted a reason to not take Stevenson because I've been taking Stevenson in this range when I need a running back in the 5th or 6th round.
See,
now here is where I'm considering taking like Trevor Lawrence.
I mean,
but
you do have
actually, I can actually wait on him.
You can wait on a quarterback.
I will say I do think that Gibson will eat more into Stevenson's role than you guys think.
No, I do like Gibson a lot.
Gibson will be eating into that.
Gibson is expected to be their third down back. I don't see why he wouldn't be.
But Ramondre, I think, is on his way of being lightened his workload for a couple of years because they want that contract to last. They don't want to have to cut him.
It's true, but Donnie, I could see Gibson cutting into your wide receiver production more than just Stevenson, the running back, because Gibson has such a receiving upside.
I don't buy that. What do you think, Donnie?
I imagine a lot of checkdowns to the running backs will happen.
I just don't think it's going to cut into any wide receiver workload as long as they're NFL ready and they're running their routes well and the offense is functioning. But if that's going to happen on the Patriots this year, I don't know if I trust that offensive line.
Well, the Patriots and wide receiver ready hasn't really melded together very well in recent years.
Well, they're also trying to turn this team around so that it's not to Bill Belichick's liking anymore.
True. And Gibson was one of those new additions.
Not that you would know it with a pick like Jaheim Bell.
And they have a real offensive coordinator this year.
Remind me who was their OC again?
They went from Patricia to Bill O'Brien, who's clearly been aged out, and now they have the Browns OC from a couple of years, like the past couple of years.
Right. Yeah, and I forgot they brought back Bill O'Brien for a bit.
Yeah, that was... I mean, his offense has clearly been aged out for a while now.
You're seeing a slight run on quarterbacks there.
Yeah, that's that second
Prescott to the same dude. Like, ooh.
I did see a good best ball question recently, and I see Kittle went just a couple rounds ago. Who do you think benefits most from the 49ers offense if Brandon Ayuk is traded? Because I do think it's Kittle.
Probably is Kittle.
I honestly don't know, and I don't know if I even care at this point. I think it might even be someone...
You can't give McCaffrey more, so it's either going to be Kittle. It could just very well be Debo.
It could very well be Elijah Mitchell just gets a little more run out of 2 running back sets.
I don't think I buy any of that. I think, for all we know, it could be Ricky Pearsall, assuming he stays healthy.
It could be anything. They're so creative offensively. I think they'd try everything. I think everyone benefits.
We pretty much
get their best skill players the ball. That is what they will do.
And Brock Purdy has proven he's the real deal in the NFL.
Yes.
I know you're going to hate hearing that, Logan.
Another thing that happened today. Damiere Byrd gets back in the NFL with a Chase Claypool injury. Byrd is not an awful wide receiver. and he has shown the ability to be a deep threat guy. I don't think it matters for DFS reasons, but down the road, maybe it's a name to keep an eye on when injuries start to pile up, inevitably.
I liked Amir Bird's brief time with my Bears.
I liked him when he was on the Patriots. He always was catching the passes that went to him.
He played for all of our favorite teams except Logan's.
That's true. I don't know if if Gov has the same opinion on Demir Bird, but I think he's deserves a spot in the NFL.
I think it's going to be.
He's a halfway decent wide receiver.
Yeah, he's better than Claypool to me. I think he's better than Claypool.
The only problem is he hasn't been a good return guy, so he's not been great on special teams in a while. But maybe if older guys who are a little bulkier, they might be better at the new kick return stuff where you just got to be at the line.
I don't buy that he's better than Claypool either. I mean, there's a reason that they called up Bird after Claypool got hurt.
I don't think there's plenty of guys in free agents that are better than guys. Nathan Peterman's on a roster right now.
As the fourth quarterback for the Raiders.
It doesn't matter. He's on a roster. There's probably 30 other quarterbacks in free agency better than Nathan Peterman.
I'd love to hear them all named, but I don't know if it matters because there's a lot of quarterbacks who are not relevant in the NFL who still get on rosters somehow. Ian Book being another one.
Has Ian Book really ever played a snap of football, though?
He has. Yeah. He's been awful.
Did he start at a regular season game or just preseason?
He started for the Saints.
Speaking of awful, who else watched that Rams game this past week? Where Stetson threw 4 picks, should have been 5. He got lucky and got the last one called back on a holding. And Trey Lance was putrid as well. That was terrible.
Trey Lance is going to be done soon. I don't think he's going to make it. I think he's going to get cut.
Donnie, there's a fall off in the NFL, but I mean, truly, we're looking at the elite of the elite, and when you look at the bottom end of a roster, there's no surprise to me that some of these players are just bad.
No, I'm sorry, but the reports of Jimmy Garoppolo not being able to keep up with Stetson Bennett, that has to be false. Because no way in hell. Jimmy Garoppolo was
Stetson
not
Bennett is a seasoned pro. You just don't know.
Yeah, the seasoned pro that threw 4 picks and should have been 5.
And you think porn star Jimmy is better than that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
He's not biased at all, though.
Sure.
I hate Jimmy Garoppolo for what he did with the Patriots. But
get traded and get you draft picks in another Super Bowl?
No. The fact that he was too scared to play with his sore shoulder and made us play with Julian Edelman at quarterback. That Jimmy Garoppolo made a whole locker room hate him. Twice.
I do got to jump in here, though. I love Gov's pick of Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I was going to say, these last 3 picks you made, Gov, those are pretty good 7, 8, 9 picks.
It's just smart picks.
It gives me outs. It gives me options. I need to grab a core. The one thing I don't have, I need to grab.
I do think that Tyler Lockett will be a trade deadline guy, and that will really help Smith-Njigba later in the year. Because I can't imagine the Seahawks doing anything worth note, and they just will want to get value out of Tyler.
Yeah, we're clearly high on him. We have him in 2 of our 3. I can't remember. Some of my personal and our group drafts get merged on my account. But we do have more than one share of Smith-Njigba. So, I mean, we obviously like it. I know, Gov, that me and you are highest on David Njoku, too. I really think David could be a top 10 tight end this year, and no one's talking.
I think he could be a top 5 tight end if the offense is clicking at all in Cleveland.
Which I definitely think could.
David Njoku's a great talent. He's a good tight end. It's just the quarterback.
I love me some David Njoku, and I don't think it's just the quarterback. I think it's the passing offense that the Browns don't have right. They don't have the right coaching. They've been completely awful at it, no matter who's in at quarterback.
They changed OCs.
Yeah, I think you should take Trevor Lawrence here.
I am.
Yeah.
You have Kirk.
I'm taking T-Law.
Now, what I like about this team, Gov, is you have so many great options to stack late. You could get a Watson late in the draft.
Baker, I could grab Watson in like the next at the 140 turn.
Right.
Even
Will Levis and his new cologne.
I don't know. Just because I have Tony Pollard, I take Will Levis.
Well, you know, we had to bring up the cologne.
But I do still need to fill out with some. Let's see. I'm currently at. I do still need to fill I think I've rounded out my running backs really good. Pollard, Zamir White, Bijan, and James Cook. That's 4 solid running backs for the year. I might take a shot on a really high upside guy. I don't have a backup tight end right now. All I have is Njoku. I will need to get another tight end or 2, and I will need to get another quarterback. But right now, I need wide receiver depth.
Hawkinson's still there.
Is he still there?
Yeah,
he is.
I don't get it. I would even reach not saying you should do it in this draft, but I personally would reach on Hawkinson because I just think he is that good of a talent, and I think it's hard to get talent at this point in the draft. Like when
with Sam Darnold at quarterback, it really hurts.
I don't buy that either. I think it's just because people are following ADP and they're not paying attention to Hawkinson because he's injured and they're scared. So if you can get Hawkinson this late, it's an unbelievable value.
Well, yeah, but I think his ADP will drop even more, and he's become even more valuable once it drops again. But
he could. But I actually want to go around table. Like, what do you guys think of Hawkinson? Because he's just falling to a level that I don't think is appropriate. Like, it amazes me.
I mean, he's probably my favorite.
Let me just get the straight up double stack. Fuck it.
I think Hawkinson personally is probably my favorite tight end in the league, but
this is a fuck you. Jacksonville does really good team. That's what this says.
Was that a Davis pick, Go?
Yes.
I don't know. It might be. I might have just picked up Gabe Davis. Yes. Okay. So now we need to be in the mindset. This is it. We are in a scenario where I'm saying Jacksonville wins like 12 games. Everyone get into that scenario so we know who's going to be good this year.
I can't picture it.
If Jacksonville's doing well, what's happening?
See,
chaos.
I think this is Gabe Davis' career year, but I think it comes at the expense of Kirk. I think Thomas.
And Kirk and Gabe don't run any bit of the same game to me. Like, if anything,
they're completely different. He's taking Calvin Ridley's stuff.
Not even. Like, Calvin Ridley wasn't even as good. Like, Gabe Davis is a straight deep ball guy with speed, whereas Kirk can run all the intermediary and short routes, no problem.
See, but I think that was a mistake by the Bills. I guess we'll find out. But I think Gabe Davis, when I went back and looked at it, I thought he was a better route runner than the Bills utilized in their system.
Well, Logan, it can only be a mistake by the Bills if, they had to get rid of him. They had to get rid of everybody they got rid of. They could not afford anything.
That's because they managed their team poorly. And
if I can come back to Hawkinson for a brief moment, it's worth noting that if he can get to at least 15 games and he stays healthy, he is a top 5 tight end. So I think a lot of people are forgetting that because he's got the ACL tear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to Donnie's point, though, with the J.J. McCarthy news, he could slip more because people were just even more gun shy because they want to stack it. Like, I don't want to go Sam.
We already saw that Addison has other issues surrounding him, but we know Jefferson's stock is severely hurt because of who's at quarterback.
Yeah, it's bad logic that I love to take advantage of because the people freaking out about Sam Darnold.
Dude, Justin Jefferson's going to get his no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. And Sam Darnold is NFL caliber. Yeah, he's a professional quarterback, to quote Matthew Berry.
And
that is true. But I also think he's a bad quarterback. So
the Jets did ruin him, but he is serviceable.
No, I'm pretty sure as a Carolina fan, and I'm pretty sure San Francisco fans would tell you, no.
Well, San Francisco fans can't tell me because
he's like Juju.
He never played.
He's damaged goods.
Because the Jets
finally cut Juju.
Yeah. But
we need to celebrate that. Juju Smith-Schuster is not on an NFL roster anymore, and I think that deserves so much praise. Like, screw that guy. Woo! I don't like him. Go make TikToks, buddy.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of Juju Smith-Schuster. Despite making my dynasty mistake back in 2017 when I dropped him after I drafted him, it turned out not to be the worst thing in the world, even after he had his top 10 wide receiver season in 2018. He just never was the same after that.
Yeah, no, Antonio Brown left, and it almost was like he needed a number one receiver next to him for him to be solid.
Yep, and the best he ever did after that was a wide receiver 17 season
I like
in 2020.
Judy here. I like Judy a lot.
Yeah, because it's setting up me taking Deshaun with my next pick, and then I have my stacks set, and they're both double stacks. So, like, okay, so realize this is a world where I'm saying Cleveland's passing game and Jacksonville are doing well.
Your world is not a great one.
I would take.
You got to understand, this is the world that this draft says we live in. Bijan is a top running back. Jacksonville's doing well. So is Cleveland.
Oh, what a horrible world.
to that point, though, Gov, I do like the draft strategy of saying, like, once the draft starts and you start to make these selections, you do have to kind of draft like that world's coming true, because that's the only way to maximize your potential earnings. Like, you can't say, I like this guy because he's more talented. It's like, no, you've already built a world where you say they're having a good season. So what are you going to do? Just give up on that? To me, that you have to.
Sometimes you go all in on that, but like, I'm not going to go crazy. Like, the double stack is about as much as I go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've seen some really crazy.
So I have Njoku and Judy, and then I have Kirk and Gabe Davis.
I like Mitchell.
That works.
I think Mitchell's fallen too much, especially with Downs. I would definitely consider that if I was.
I gotta take Deshaun here.
Did you guys see the thing that Aaron Rodgers ended up saying again today? That's just like, why are you talking?
He's going after Salah a lot. It seems strange.
Rodgers said that preseason football isn't real football, which is very insulting to the guys who have made their roster spots off of preseason. And
he's kind of right about that, though.
I mean, people are fighting for their jobs. It's kind of diminishing to say, hey, you're not worth anything anyway.
Diminishing, but true.
We've seen preseason guys make a hell of a name of themselves. Yeah, but post a good performance.
It's not the same. It's not the same brand of football.
It's bad wording. Once again, bad wording by Aaron.
I don't think so. I'm okay with it. That would be like saying the UFL and the NFL are the same brand of football. They're not. I can appreciate.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers says the UFL isn't real football, that's again very diminishing.
That's way worse, in my opinion. But I'm not sure I want to bring this up, but Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell were talking on Antonio Brown's podcast, asking each other if they have CTE. I haven't heard what they're saying yet, and I'm not sure I want to.
I don't pay any attention to either of them. They are. I mean, Antonio Brown jokes about having CTE all the time.
That's the problem. Is I think at this point, like, those kind of athletes are going to glom onto a podcast just for the, hey, can we get an advertisement dollar? Can we get viewership dollars? Can we get attention? So that way people pay attention to us. So it's almost like the Gilbert Arenas thing where they might just start saying wild stuff to get attention.
Well, and Antonio Brown just said wild stuff for so long.
Right.
He doesn't care.
And that's the thing is, I don't even know if he believes it, if he's playing a character like it's professional wrestling. Like, that's the problem with that stuff. Like, if I was getting a truth serum with him, it'd be one thing. But I don't even know if it's truthful, if it's just a gimmick for attention.
I didn't even realize the person with the number one pick who took CD instead of McCaffrey, his whole world.
Whole team is Dallas. Yeah.
But he didn't get Dak.
Oh my God.
Dak went to the guy on the far right.
So
he has every receiver for Dallas. He has CD, he has Cook, he has Tolbert, he has Ferguson.
Oh my God.
Watch him take Cooper Rush in the 20th.
Go. I
Trey Lance.
Oh God.
Trey Lance, final pick in the draft.
Hey, no, we've seen it.
Yeah, we have.
I don't know if it was live, but we definitely saw it in one with me.
I do think
I might have a crazy last pick in the draft. We'll see if I can find a good one.
I do think it was your personal draft that I witnessed, Donnie, where we did say Trey Lance go. Gov, to your point though, I mean, I could see a 4 quarterback or four team stack, right? Like I have seen it with Kansas City as I've watched a ton of drafts. But I'm with you. I prefer the double stack and then the quarterback bring back. I don't like to go any more than that. Even if I was going to do 150, I just don't want to double that. I don't want to have that much equity into one team.
I mean, if you take every receiving threat of the Cowboys, you're literally saying Dak is the MVP. Because Dak had to support that all.
Well, some people have gotten lucky enough. I've seen it in a few drafts where they've gotten Mahomes, they've gotten Kelsey, they've gotten Rice and Worthy. But even that,
you could argue, hey, Mahomes is going to win MVP here.
But that's my problem, Donnie. Is even if you said that Mahomes gets MVP, the rest of those pieces still have to produce. Like you still have to get that right. And I get that maybe you have to get less right by betting so much on one team. Like with that team, you're basically saying Kansas City's good. They're an MVP candidate team. They're in the Super Bowl. Like they're a good team. So I get like there's less pressure on that kind of selection, but it's just too risky for me.
So Gov, with your DeMarcus Robinson pick, what do you imagine happening with the Rams offense that gets him more volume?
Well, I'm just shooting for touchdowns now. Like I think I have a good solid core, and then I have the double stacks for my quarterbacks. Now I'm just shooting for who could have a high upside week.
Yeah,
just 1 week.
So
I could see a game where they got to chuck it. Puka or Cup maybe is not full go, or they're actually being covered well, which is going to leave Robinson open.
So you're down on the preseason darling and Whittingham for the Rams. Then.
Yes,
he's getting all that like buzz.
Logan, here's my thing: the Rams don't believe in playing their starters preseason at all. The only guys that we didn't see in that receiving room play is Puka, Cup, Robinson, and Tutu. That's 4 already.
Yeah. I stay away from Robinson because I don't like to take.
They will definitely keep 5 wide receivers.
They'll definitely keep 5, but to draft the 5th guy seems kind of like you're really shooting for it when there's so much talent.
We're in the last 3 or 4 picks of the draft, so like the guys I'm taking either better have high upside, weak potential, or like with Leggett. A good. I don't know what this rookie actually will be in the offense.
Right,
I'll take a shot on that.
I love Leggett there. I think he's going further down the board.
It was either him or Downs, but I'm down on the Indy offense.
See, here's what I don't understand though. A guy like Hunter Henry is going after a Musgrave and an Otten who does not get supported at all by Baker because Baker doesn't support tight ends. When Hunter Henry, we've seen, is one of the better red zone tight ends in the league. So, I don't know. It's very strange to me. Even if you hate the Patriots offense.
I do like these ecosystems of these best balls because you do see like some weird things happening, but they seem to keep happening. And sometimes you got to like just be like, I feel differently. Like, for example, we're higher on Travis Etienne than it seems like almost everyone in our draft always. So it's just one of the things where it's like, well, either they're right or we're wrong, or vice versa. But until I'm proven, you just got to believe in some of your stuff. But to your point on Leggett, though, I just think everyone's scared because Mingo was like a hot topic in the offseason last year, and that rookie experiment just didn't work out. So I think
Jesus! Oh my God! I'm sorry. Oh God!
Words, Gov, what happened?
I just looked at the fantasy score for baseball, and I played Juan Soto.
I played
what Juan Soto has done.
No, but I played him last night.
Spill the beans.
So through the 7th inning, Juan Soto has 4 at-bats. He has 3 home runs and 4 RBIs.
Damn.
See, I played him last night. He had an okay game last night. Why couldn't he have that game tonight?
Oh my god! So now I just need Arizona to put up a shit ton of runs. And oh god, it was Minnesota. Holy fuck, they have 13. Oh god.
That pitch clock is definitely helping runs in baseball. I'll say that.
I also needed who was it? Abreu of Boston. Has he done anything? Right? Let's see the game. No, it was Wong who had 25.
Hold on, Gov. You're on the clock to see you're aware.
Really?
Yeah. Not Keandre.
No, we're gonna take Roman Wilson.
There you go. Get that talent.
Good pick.
Yeah.
You know Roman slides.
It's time. We're in that range where I'm taking probably 2 rookies right here. So
Honestly,
who's the next one you like? I'm
Luke
queuing up.
McCaffrey.
I love Franklin given Mims just got hurt.
It's going to be one of these 3 coming back around to me. I'm taking one of these high upside rookies.
Oh yeah,
I
Mims
love-
did just get hurt.
Yeah, Mims got
Frankly-
hurt.
Tim Patrick's like a play away from being hurt.
He's always a player. He's been hurt
Yeah.
He's honestly, if we don't get Franklin, I am considering taking Patrick with like the last pick in the draft.
It's not a bad pick.
I've done it
Wait,
like
when-
every best ball for like the last 3 years.
Hold
Yeah,
on. When did Marvin Mims get hurt?
Just yesterday, I want to say.
I am not finding anything on that.
No, I don't see Mims hurt.
I'm pretty sure he is. At least I heard he is, but
No,
a
it
lot-
does not seem like he is.
Mims
There's
is
He's
a-
not
bad
hurt. He's
pick.
healthy.
there's a
Mims
lot
is
of
not a bad pick.
no, not if he's not hurt. There's a lot of false reports on Twitter. I will say that you got to be careful.
like what some asshole was saying about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Gibbs is being evaluated for a knee injury.
Gibbs he's done already. He's finished. It's a 2 to 4. It's like a 2 to 4 week injury.
Yeah, it's a hamstring
It's
issue.
not even a knee.
Yeah,
So
It's
it's McCaffrey or Franklin.
Franklin.
Whoever you have less stock in.
Yeah.
That would be Franklin.
Okay, then it's,
I definitely have some McCaffrey.
Franklin does seem to have good chemistry with Bo Nix too.
Yeah, it was a hamstring. It's confirmed. It was a simple hamstring injury. It's gonna be a couple. Now I will say hamstring injuries to me is like the scariest injury you could ever tell me somebody has when I'm thinking of drafting, because you just don't know. That could be a 2-week thing. It could also be a year thing.
Well,
I hate hamstrings. I don't play with it at all.
I did hear they were looking at his knee today, but apparently that was just a scope. They were planning on cleaning that knee out anyways. And then because of the injury or because of the hamstring concern, people ran with it to say like, oh, there was a major threat with his knee when it was really just a scope. Because that's the thing too, is a lot of players at this point will get their knees cleaned out. They will get kind of general maintenance before the season. I think we talked about it.
Noah Fant.
People have been liking Fant because Disley's gone now. A lot of people think that Seattle's going to open
He
it
should
up
be
more.
the number 1 tight end.
MVS went in the 16th round. I will say that.
Oh my god. That's fucking terrible.
Somebody really went for that home run upside.
What home run upside? It's MVS we're talking here.
Yeah, the two
Like I actually
potential
believe
touchdowns he could
Demarcus
have a game.
Robinson can do that. I don't believe that MVS
No.
does.
Evan, he does drop those touchdowns every time, but they're potentially there.
If I don't remember how that saying goes, but in any case, fuck MVS. He hasn't been relevant since 2020.
He did have a weird quote in the offseason.
No, I think that was it. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, fuck MVS. He can suck my dick. It was
Thank you,
something like
Gov.
that.
That's
It
where I
was
was
something
going.
like that.
That's where I was going. Thank you. So yeah, Jonnu Smith is taken, Tyler Boyd's taken. So coming up with 4 more picks. Are you just gonna piss yellow from here on out, Gov?
No, I do need another tight end here. I was actually hoping one of like
You could
Chig or
also
something got
look
left
at
for me.
a potential.
So I'm
AOC.
kind of
Gesicki.
Yeah.
I love me some Gesicki, and
I'm
he's
okay
in the
with
perfect
Sanders.
I would
These
look
are
at
not
Sanders.
good.
Yeah,
These
no.
are not good
I
options.
was really hoping to grab Chig, but I probably should have grabbed him instead of Roman and then gotten Roman after.
I will.
Sanders would be my top guy there.
Gesicki's with the quarterback that's super tight end friendly. I'd just go there.
They don't have Boyd, so they are going to need a new
Sam
third
Darnold
slot option. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I'm
Sam
out on
Darnold's draft
Gesicki
stock is going up. Why are you out on Gesicki when he's finally with a quarterback that loves tight
because
ends?
he's played for like 20 years and not done anything.
Gesicki is 27 or 28.
Exactly.
And he's had good seasons in the NFL.
I'm sick of hearing about a guy who's almost 30 who hasn't done it. Every year he gets promoted as like being a top 10 tight end.
I've never heard that level of promotion.
That's what he was.
Not since he was drafted.
Yeah, because he can't live up to it.
He's had 2 700-yard years. I mean, that's solid.
No, it's not. It's not good.
I mean, I only need him to be
solid.
For like this is where I probably should have been more strategic earlier and been like, okay, Njoku's kind of a stud tight end to me, so I expect his points to just be my points every week. So what's the best matchup the week he's on bye?
I mean,
that's the kind of stuff that I should have been writing down. I haven't been keeping track of this year. It's like, that's the research you do. It's like, if you draft this guy, who's the actual best guy to have? Who's in the best matchup?
Yeah,
week that guy's on bye. Yeah. And then try to get him as your backup.
My thing is with Gesicki, he is what he is, and you're going to get a guy who's going to be okay. But we know Joe Burrow loves his tight ends, and we also know that Gesicki has only ever played in bad offenses. He's never played with a good offense.
They still have Drew Sample.
I think Eric All Jr. could be a guy to step up, being a former Iowa tight end, which is known as tight end U. He's just coming off of his, I think he had a knee issue, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, torn ACL last season at Iowa. He was fantastic at Iowa. I think he could be somebody with a real opportunity to take over Gesicki.
I don't see a reason why they're trying to replace Gesicki this year.
He already took Gesicki, I believe.
Yeah, no, he already took Gesicki. Gesicki's on Gov's team.
No, I'm just saying that I would say I would be on the lookout for Eric All if he can stay healthy.
That's a smart pick there. Now I would say, is this round 20 coming up?
Yep, last pick in the draft, going to happen next.
Are you looking at quarterback potentially, or do you have 3?
I only have 2, but I'm not looking at quarterback. I don't see the need for 3.
Yeah, go.
I have 2. If you I could see why you would say that with Deshaun and Lawrence. I kind of have some injuries.
Well, you have so much stock
in.
I think you have so much stock in the Raiders. I would just take the AOC shot if he's there, but that's just me personally.
I do like the Corley play though. As much as I hate the Gesicki play, you came back and something I can digest.
So many of my drafts look like this, where because I prioritized getting my running backs early and then I take mid quarterbacks, I end up just pissing yellow on rookies all through the end of my draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea though.
Dude,
Leggett, Roman Wilson, Franklin, and Corley could actually have some spike weeks. And that's what I need. I need spike weeks for when Kirk, Evans, and Adams aren't just killing it.
Yeah. We know that Adams, Evans, and Kirk, if they play all 17 games, they're probably averaging at least 15, I'd say. 12 to 15 is what you're expecting from them. And then they have their spikes.
What I like about Corley is he's playing with Aaron Rodgers, who you can politically disagree with the man all you want. He says some wild things, but he's still a really good quarterback. And Corley, from what I can tell, he plays angry, and I like it when players play with a yards. He plays to catch the ball and run with the ball afterwards. He doesn't play to catch the ball and get down. I think that's valuable.
We know what team had the worst closing of the draft. the team decided to take J.J. McCarthy in the 19th round and then respond with Drake May in the 20th.
I have so much Keaton Mitchell. I can't take him. I could take a running back.
You quite literally can, though.
But I don't need another share of him. But I do need like a 5th upside running back.
Do you though?
I don't need. I have 11 wide receivers.
Take Dylan Lau. Oh, he just went.
Yeah, never mind.
I honestly need to take a running back here.
You could go Va and just say, hey, maybe Zeke is terrible now, and who's their backup other than Zeke?
I wouldn't go Deuce Vaughn. I'd go Rico Dowdle. But Dowdle's probably gone by now, right?
Yeah, we're at the last pick in the draft.
Yeah, I would have definitely went Dylan Lau, but he's gone now too.
Wide receiver, who's there?
He wants running back for sure. There's so much better receivers.
Elijah Moore, probably.
Better receivers. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably Elijah Moore.
Walker, maybe? Just go another rookie?
Yeah, I'd go Walker.
I'd still rather have Moore over Walker, but I don't think you have anything to lose.
Mitchell's not bad.
Hurry!
I think it's Mitchell if you go running back.
Too late. Zay Jones. Or Keaton
no,
Mitchell.
No, it's going to be Mitchell. Mitchell's the highest guy in my rankings. I'm going to have like 60% Mitchell in my team.
That's fine, dude. In the world where Henry gets hurt, that is awesome for you.
Even where Henry doesn't get hurt, when Mitchell is healthy, they're going to use him in extra spots. Just like they did around Dobbins and Gus and everything else.
How is that Lloyd injury for the Packers though? Because I know you have the AJ Dillon cheers. Like that might have been a pick for you. I couldn't get it out quick enough.
Will the last pick in the draft take like a Trey Lance or a Cooper Rush? Wait for it. Oh, Flacco goes right before.
Flacco what?
Oh, he took a quarterback. Hold on.
He took Penix. He took Penix.
He slammed his Penix in the car door.
Oh, God. Junior.
What a pecking order that is.
Lloyd is not.
Zing. I see what you did there, Logan.
What up, Tish?
Lloyd is not expected to be out long, but the running backs coach says it makes it extremely difficult, especially as a rookie, because you need reps.
Okay, this first fucking team who had the first pick. What the fuck are these last 5 picks?
He had 5 Cowboys and no Dak.
Earl Grey.
Let's take about 15 minutes. Let's take about 15 minutes to review this team.
Roshan's not your boy? Come on, that's your boy Roshan.
Roshan's not even on the top of the depth chart, and he's in a committee.
And then they got Baker.
I don't believe in Baker.
Okay, well, Baker at best is a red zone threat, and that's absolutely at best. And an offense is going to average 20 points at most.
Jelani Woods.
Jelani Woods, actually, I have had fall to me in a draft as well. And I just had to take him because I had Richardson.
Oh, he has Penix and Cousins.
Ew.
Let's take the next 10 minutes to review Gov's team because we came in, I think we're in the second round. So
yeah, roast me. There was also, more importantly, we have a guy who was drafting with ETR rankings we can see.
Okay. So let's go pick by. I don't mind the Robinson pick. Do you?
Malik Neighbors went 3rd round.
What do you think of the Robinson pick?
Let's just look at the first 6 rounds and see. Okay.
I just want to look at Gov's team first and then do the other teams. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not surprised you went Bijan at 105, being that that's pretty close to where he goes in most consensus rankings everywhere. So that's a good pick.
And Gov's the highest on him of anyone in the.
I honestly don't think I would have made a different pick until the Zamir White pick.
Yeah, I don't like the Zamir White pick this early because I don't think he's the real deal.
And I don't. Now that I give
who's actually behind him to take his job? Though?
It's not. That's not the point. The point is that it's going to be a committee.
I don't know.
Is it going to be a committee? Like who's actually making it?
Yeah, who's able to make it a committee?
If he's even halfway decent, he should still just get all the work.
They grabbed Alexander Madison to do change of pace stuff, and then they drafted Dylan Lobb to do 3rd down stuff, and then there's Amir Abdullah to get in the way.
If Alexander Madison does change of pace, then Alexander Madison in the Raiders organization are losing about 13 games at least.
Yeah, that's what Raiders were talking about.
If Alexander Madison gets 50 carries, I'm going to be really pissed at
Whoa. Who said 150 carries? We're not talking about
Well,
that.
if 120 would at least is what you're saying if you think he's going to affect Zamir White.
No, we're not talking like that here. Like the most he's ever had is 180 in his career. Otherwise, he never, I mean, on the low end, he got 74 carries in Minnesota. And I don't know what this offense is going to look like anyway with the Raiders, with Luke Getsy running the show.
He's probably going to have 74 again.
He deserves about 70.
I could see that, yeah.
And so 100 carries away from Zamir White, I'm not scared of.
I agree with that. I don't like Mike Evans personally, but I love Adams.
Well, Mike Evans is just a Baker receiver. That Baker loves guys like that. So,
Mike Evans, even with Baker, like, don't hate on the fact, like, I am not a Tampa Bay fan. I am not a Tampa Bay fan. I love Tampa Bay. But you cannot deny that Mike Evans, for his entire career, basically, has been 1,000-yard receiver, catching end zone touchdown. Like, he is that consistent guy.
No matter who the quarterback is, he is that guy. He even made famous Jameis look good.
Yep, it was crappy famous Jameis. It was other shitty dudes with that. Then it was Brady. Then it was Baker.
What's up?
No, I hear Gov.
Okay.
No, but I can't argue with that, Gov, because that's the same argument I give for Hopkins. That's why I personally draft a ton of Hopkins. Even though people were like the injury and his age, I'm like, look, the guy gets 1,000 yards. Until I see him not getting 1,000 yards, I'm drafting Hopkins. I think Mike Evans is kind of in a similar vein to that narrative. So I get it.
But Mike Evans is still like visibly looks good as well. Like visually, he's just dominating still.
And
Hopkins,
huge.
you could argue, isn't anymore, but he's still, he's still just solid and consistent, and he's DeAndre.
Maybe that's the thing is I just think you can get consistency later in the draft where I don't know if I want to reach for that.
Well, we've seen Hopkins not have 1,000 yards so far in his career.
I will say the first 3 picks, though, in collective are really well. I
like the first 5. And honestly, I don't like Pollard. I just don't think he's that good. So I'll never like that pick just because I'm not a Pollard guy.
It's expected to be a 2-back split committee anyway with Tyjae Spears.
Exactly. I just think that running game is not good, and they're going to have to be a passing offense.
So Ridley just joined the Titans with 136 targets from the Jaguars last year. Hopkins got 137. Do we think this is going to be a split just like that, or do we think Calvin Ridley's going to take a hit, or what are we thinking here for the Titans passing?
No, because I like Tyler Boyd more too. So, and they also added him.
That's another good point too, Logan. Like, how many targets is Tyler Boyd going to get in this offense?
I think he does see a spike with Hopkins being. I do not expect Hopkins to play week 1. I don't think the injury will be long, but I don't expect him to play week 1. Gov, were you planning on going hero RB, or did it just fall that way?
Oh, I always that's actually one of my normal strategies.
Right.
Like, especially if I'm in a spot where I'm getting a first round running back, I have no problem also taking all those good second round running backs right behind them, or when they show up in the third round. Like, because I'm high on all of them. So it just because of how I rank guys. Like outside of Achane, and Pacheco, I'm fine with any one of the guys that you go with. Like, I would have even been fine taking Rashad White or Josh Jacobs had it come to me.
Is there a pick that you really regret or you're really nervous about that you wish you would have just had about 20 more seconds to think about? Or are you pretty confident how this draft went?
I kind of panicked. Like, I should have probably just taken Ramondre instead of Njigba here. And then I wouldn't have needed a Pollard. I wouldn't have needed to take any guys late, like Mitchell. Like, I would have just had my running back solid. I also could have just taken Stevenson instead of Zamir White, period. We were looking at these 3 guys right here. White, Swift, Stevenson. That's the one where I only asked you, Logan. And, like, I wanted to take White anyway, and you didn't give me a reason not to. And I knew someone would New England or Chicago wise would give me a reason not to.
Well, to be fair, I think Evans the lowest on White out of anyone in this room.
But I have a decent amount of Njigba. I kind of would have liked to have gotten a Brian Thomas or something there. I don't have any Kansas City wide receivers getting Worthy or Hollywood there. Would have been nice. But it's not like Njigba's a bad pick.
I like Jackson Smith-Njigba a lot because he there was a reason the Seattle Seahawks spent a first-round pick on the guy. He is the real deal who's going to be the future.
And let's be honest, they got rid of Pete Carroll a lot because of his inability, because they didn't think he was offensively creative enough. And that's also why the tight end sees the spike offensively and why we might see JSN really extend towards a positive.
I want to say this too about Zamir White. I think he can absolutely be a top 30 back in the NFL, but fantasy-wise for regular scoring and whatnot. But I just don't think he's going to do anything spectacular, like be a top 10 running back. That is not anywhere near his ceiling.
That's
with
true,
Zamir
but I also
White,
I didn't really draft him there. Let's see exactly where I made him. I made him go as the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13.
He went around Keenan
15,
Allen,
16, 17,
Kittle.
18. I made him the 19th running back off the board.
Oh, I just realized that he went just after David Montgomery. How did Montgomery go so late with the Gibbs injury?
because the Gibbs injury is not going to be long.
No, I'm just saying that I would figure somebody would take a chance on Montgomery and just in case that Gibbs needs more time.
He was higher in the
didn't
ranking,
even
and I
fall.
probably would have taken Montgomery instead of White had he dropped him.
My only thing with Zamir White pick, I just think he's the least talented running back in that area being taken. I'm just not a fan of his talent, so I just would rather take a different position at that point if I don't want the other running backs.
He might have a lower floor than some, but I think his upside case makes him an intriguing pick.
What upside?
Oh.
That he's going to get all the
He has
volume.
the upside to have like 200 touches.
His offense should allow him to get a lot of touches, but I just don't like his talent.
His head coach wants to run the ball. He could see 200 carries.
I don't think it's just a simple case of that with Luke Getsy. I think the Raiders are going to be playing from behind a lot, so I don't see how they're going to get a good run game going when they have to throw the ball.
Well, he's a receiving back too.
No, Zamir White is absolutely not a receiving back.
Yeah, I was about to say Zamir White is.
He has decent hands considering.
Yeah, he's young and would need to develop these hands. You're hoping, but he's never shown that he's just a straight up receiving back. They have Amir Abdullah to be the receiving back.
There's a reason they drafted Dylan Laub.
Yeah, there's a reason they have Amir Abdullah. There's a reason they drafted Dylan Laub.
I don't think the reasons of drafting running backs. I honestly feel like teams just need to draft a running back at least once every 3 years because you're probably getting rid of your running back once every 4 years.
In that case, you just sign a veteran. You don't need to draft a guy if that's the case. They wanted Dylan Laub's skill set.
I don't think that you need to re-sign your running backs or sign veterans unless it's a reasonable deal. I would just replace my running back all the time.
That's a philosophy. That's a philosophy that you have, Donnie. I don't know.
But the Raiders seem to have it as well because they got rid of Josh Jacobs and didn't sign anybody.
The way they handled Jacobs the last 2 or 3 years has just been mind-blowing to me. They ran him into the ground in 2022. Then they fucking franchise tagged him, which didn't make any sense to me. I thought they were going to get rid of him. Yeah.
You're supposed to run him into the ground and just get rid of him.
Yes.
But he wasn't this coach's pick. He was a John Gruden guy. So
it doesn't matter. It's like if management is going to stick to the plan, why would you hold him for one more season and then he only played 13 games?
Because they just wanted to burn his tires.
They already did that in 2022. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. Are you going to, you could only burn the tire so much until it just doesn't burn anymore.
Yeah, but they don't care because he's on to the Packers now.
Yeah, and a lot of people are putting a lot of hype on Jacobs to be the next Aaron Jones, but I don't think that's a perfect analogy either. I mean, he's still good, but I don't think he's going to get Jones production.
Aaron Jones was just so good when he was healthy.
When the Packers didn't have Aaron Jones, they suffered a lot.
Yes.
I want Aaron Jones stock this year. I think he's going to have a great year with Minnesota.
But that offensive line is a big downgrade. Major downgrade.
Yeah.
I did want to keep the show within an hour, though. I thought, Gov did a perfect thing with the drafter. Did you hear Matthew Berry's new investment, Gov, for fantasy?
No.
He invested in the guillotine league that you talked about just a couple weeks ago. So he's bringing on the top guillotine.
I'm really hoping that they eventually just have it on ESPN, so it'll be a lot easier, because the app and the site I use right now is like, it's a good site, but like they do need help.
Right, and this guy was basically the founder idea of it. He promoted him on his Twitter today. He brought him into Fantasy Life. So it does seem like he's putting a lot of resources behind that format and really wants to promote it.
I like the guillotine format. If you have an 18-person league, especially since it now like fits with the 18 weeks that you have in the season, like, I like the idea of a last man standing guillotine league.
Yeah, my thing about that is, like, this is where ESPN Bet has a chance to make, just be different and get something in there that makes them worthwhile, and they won't do it because ESPN's stupid.
Yeah, they are. I mean, have you seen ESPN's fantasy platform? They're stuck like 20 years in the past. It's the worst platform.
They bought the worst platform that was going out of business to try to make it into something, and now they're not doing anything to change what was wrong at the site.
To be fair, that's part of the reason Matthew Berry left and started his own thing with Fantasy Life, was he brought in a lot of DFS-minded guys. He brought in some more betting guys, some really smart guys that weren't getting enough attention. Used his platform, being Matthew Berry in the name, got an NBC. Now has a fantasy segment on NBC's Sunday Night Football, which a lot of bigger media companies are not doing. They're not promoting fantasy, which I feel like is a mistake, because look at the best ball views that even our channel gets. Every time we show a best ball draft or any kind of live interaction with fantasy, our numbers have spiked. So you can only imagine a big name like Matthew Berry. I think this is a good thing.
I mean, even Fox has a whole show dedicated to betting now at this point. Like, the only one not there is ESPN at this point.
I mean, ESPN is too busy laying off all their personalities and not knowing what to do with their programs to get what they just don't have the right people in charge, apparently, because I mean, if anybody is going to propose a fantasy football league to me and it's not on ESPN, I'm telling you straight up, no, it's the worst fucking platform. I'd rather be on Yahoo.
That's saying something, because Sleeper is by far the best.
Yeah. Yeah, for traditional leagues, absolutely. But I don't know. I've been pretty happy with DraftKings. It seems like a good platform for best ball, too.
I will say, my friends.
Been bad. Underdog is pretty good, too. But I like PK. Like, I got nothing against it.
Yeah. My friends still use the, like, regular NFL fantasy for their league, and I stomach it because of my friends, but I wish we'd change over.
Well, sometimes you forget how much we're inundated in this like small little bubble. Like we like to think that the fantasy community is bigger than what they are sometimes, but then you go to your casual friends draft or your redraft league with friends and family, and you're like, wow, they think way differently. Like I had a friend call me and he asked me for my rankings, and he literally did not know like 5 of the guys I mentioned that should be going in the first 3 rounds. So it is.
Can you give me a name example of like who is not known?
I don't want to out him like that. But
not the person's name, but a player's name. The most egregious, you'd say.
Oh, so this is an example. I asked him where. Now he's in Michigan like me, so I figured this would be a softball for him. I asked him where he thought St. Brown would be drafted, and he's like, St. Brown's probably going in the 3rd round.
Wow.
And I'm like, the 3rd round.
2 years ago, yes.
Or I asked him if because he knows Ohio State being a Michigan fan. I'm like, hey, do you have any guess where Marvin Harrison Jr. is going? He's like, what, like the 5th round?
Well, no, to be fair, that's the right spot for him to be going.
Yeah, I would not take him higher than like this year.
That is a good question.
Taking where I took Evans or where I took Cook, I'm not taking him at the beginning of the 2nd round.
Well, even like a Harrison or a Neighbors, do you think those guys are going to are they going to fall in like an average like redraft league?
I would hope so because I'm not taking any shot on Neighbors in that offense.
Is that just where we're so fantasy brained or so fantasy pilled, if you will, that we're like, Neighbors is going to catch 100 passes because he's the only target in the Giants, and then so we end up thinking, we end up overvaluing him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's 100.
It depends. I don't think it will, just because you'll get a lot of people in redraft leagues who are just dumb, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll just take the best guy they have available on their ranking." And even ESPN's dumbass rankings are going to have Marvin Harrison Jr.
higher than he should be.
Take them in the second round of fucking drafts.
Yeah.
You take Neighbors in the third to fourth. It's like,
based on the rankings that I'm using right now for like your typical vanilla redraft leagues, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the wide receiver 14, and Malik Neighbors is the wide receiver 25. Even at 25, I think that's a little too high for Neighbors for me. I'd rather have Diggs and Godwin over Neighbors.
I'd rather have at least somebody I know can go and get me. I know will at least get me 750 yards if healthy.
Yeah, Neighbors is too high for me.
So my last point tonight, and I'll kind of go around table and let you guys have a last word if you got one. My last thing is, I think it was last year, me and Donnie watched week 3 of the preseason and saw Tank Dell. And I was like, hey, there's something here. He's catching the ball. He's looking productive. The problem is this year, everything just seems so accelerated. Everyone's looking for the next Puka Nacua. Everyone's just trying to take this crazy upside. They want their 18th pick to be this fantastic selection. Sometimes you have to take the floor player. You have to take the guy that you're like, hey, you know what? Sanders could just be a good tight end on a bad team. Or hey,
Tyler Boyd has value.
Tyler Boyd's a perfect example.
AJ Dillon has value.
Right. But everyone's looking for like this flash rookie. Who's the next Puka Nacua? Who's the next rookie that's going to score through? What? J.G. Zacharyson mentioned it today. He's like, what happens if Puka Nacua doesn't happen this year, guys? Like, he actually asked that just to his Twitter.
I've been putting out this point. Like, I don't know if Puka Nacua is going to repeat this.
Right.
I think he will if he's healthy.
But I'm just saying the idea of Puka. I'm not even talking about, like, what happens if we don't have a, like, round 18 guy just explode? Sometimes I think we forget about the floor. That was my only point I wanted to wrap up on tonight. You got anything, Evan?
I guess I'll follow up on that point as well. Like, we've seen wide receivers who are rookies who finish their season strong, such as like a Dante Pettis when he was with the 49ers as a rookie. After that, then he didn't turn out to be anything special. Now he's expected to play special teams for my Bears at this point as just a depth option. So sometimes these things just happen, which is why that you kind of need the advanced data and analytics, and just sometimes these players just play for the benefit of a solid offense that they just work in the system. But then when they go somewhere else, their skill set just doesn't pan out. But Puka Nacua, if his knee's okay, I see no reason to not treat him like a top 10 receiver.
And I don't want to treat it like there's no good fun rookies. I'm really high in Doomsday. I like Polk this year a lot. I think those are fun prospects. You could take it. But I think where you get mistaken is where you think you have to go and find, Puka Nacua. There was a reason he was the outlier. He was a fun story. He was an exciting story because it doesn't normally happen.
It's like this every single year with any skill player. We're not going to know who that is. That's just a fact.
Right. And I do think Harrison's being overdrafted because of Puka. I really do think there is some correlation. It's like, well, every rookie's just going to be a superstar now. I do think.
Well, there has been a trend of rookies like doing much better lately, and I do think it's like something that's very unreliable.
I mean, Marvin Harrison. Exceptions. Marvin is talented on his own. I don't think that's because of Puka.
I
don't know. Marvin Harrison's a special example because we know how dominant he's been, and he has the pedigree of it being in his family, and he's just been so different. He's just a different scenario.
Well, that's my point, though, Danny. It's like, even if he has a good season, I just think the expectation is so high on these rookies. Even I think that development tree is accelerated with a lot of rookies as it should be. But I just think we're getting to a point where we can't even appreciate greatness.
Speaking of Marvin Harrison Jr., did he sign his NFL contract for licensing and merchandise?
No, I don't think he did. And He actually just finally, like 2 weeks before the game came out, he finally allowed himself to be put in Madden.
Oh, speaking of which, I have to share this. Please let me share this. Please let me share this.
Oh, you mean the screenshot? I got you.
Look at how dirty they did him in Madden.
Oh no, he looks awful. Yeah, I mean it's not. I don't think that's the new console. That's the old console. But
Either way, look at him.
Harrison looks terrible in Madden. I have
know
another
What the
picture.
fuck is that?
No, he
What
looks
the flying
bad.
fuck was that?
That
But
is
they
correct.
couldn't get any scan of him in because he waited so long.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
That's what happened. They couldn't get any scans because they waited so long.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that just based off of like the creative player attributes? I
hope-
Look at that 1920 drip, like this guy said.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the clothes doesn't matter to me because that's not what he's going to look like in game. But
I think that's a Saints headband too.
I don't even know if that's actually Marvin Harrison. Like legitimately, I don't know if that's what he looks like in the game.
In the game, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if you zoom in on that, I think that might be his model.
Not that far off.
Yeah.
Gov, you got any last minute best ball advice? Any last minute advice before we get out here this week?
Oh, don't do what that guy in the first team did. Don't one stack one team. Don't just grab everyone from one team.
Don't do that. There's no.
I don't see it. Even San Francisco, I would not do that with.
The team that most people are doing it with right now is San Francisco or Kansas City. I agree with you. I'm just saying those are the two teams that most people are doing.
The only one. No, I wouldn't even do it.
No, I wouldn't do it either. Donnie, any advice for the people?
Like Philly, maybe, but no, not any more than I would San Francisco. I wouldn't do San Francisco. So
Philly, no.
This is
I would need a very condensed offense so I don't have to draft 5 different dudes.
To me, this is the worst time you can draft, honestly, because you've seen a little bit, but now you know the injuries are right around the corner, and if you get somebody with your first pick who gets hurt for their whole year, you're gonna regret not just waiting a week.
This is I can tell. Yeah, I can tell by the head shake. This is a game theory question. Gov was buttoning his tongue there. Well, what do you think about that? Because I actually kind of agree with Donnie. This is the casuals are coming in. There's no information edge at this point. I feel like everyone hears.
He's not wrong. There's a reason I've saved my Millie ticket, my personal Millie ticket that I still have.
If you draft now and then you hear CeeDee Lamb gets injured tomorrow for the whole season because of a training camp thing, you're gonna be pissed and regret drafting now.
I do agree. Yeah. The information edge has dried up some.
I'm also going to be pissed if he gets hurt week 5.
Right. Yeah. But at least that's in game and you got some value out of him.
So I'm going to challenge you then, Donnie. Let's say Gov only had this one Millie ticket. He only had one. He hasn't drafted yet. When does he draft? If this is the worst time,
I would draft as soon as preseason ends, pretty much. Like the Monday the preseason's over, week 3 preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait till roster cuts. Maybe wait till roster cut day, but I don't think that even matters.
I get it though. Wait till roster cuts and then try to get the most information again. Because right now you're just hoping no injuries,
and just try to beat information and beat the injuries.
Because at least you're like, hey, I missed the information edge, but now I have the most recent. You have the most up to date coach belief, roster depth chart kind of idea. That makes sense. So with that being said, I think we're done tonight. This is a good show. We kind of gave you a hodgepodge of topics and things. We gave you a draft. I thought it was really interesting to kind of look at some of the ADPs and some of the interesting things people were doing. I will admit that first team was wild with the amount of Dallas Cowboys selections they were taking. But, at least they know what offense they're betting on. But
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
Typical Cowboys fan.
I will say, like, Jalen Tolbert has risen a lot. Like, I've seen him in the last couple weeks. Like, he's gone up a round or two. Like, if you want a guy like Tolbert, you need to take him in, like, where he was going in, like, the 10th or 11th. You're not going to be able to take him as, like, a late round pick anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, but why would I want Tolbert, just in general?
The third wide receiver on what should be a high-powered offense, I guess.
Yeah. That's the argument right there.
Guess. Exactly. The quote, the finishing point is, I guess.
Yeah, but it's all upside. It's that he's fast.
And, like, I like the Dallas offense. I think they will be good this year. But, like, still, I want CD. I want Cooks. I want Ferguson. I want Rico. And maybe Zeke.
Honestly,
I'm not really looking at Tolbert, but I guess Tolbert would be the last man in.
CD Lamb just strikes me as a guy who's going to play pissed. If there's anyone that's going to break the Kelvin Johnson record, I think it could be CD Lamb this year. So I'm all in on CD Lamb and Dak Prescott, but I don't really want to touch anything else outside of it.
Ferg, but
yeah, what's wrong with Ferguson?
I like Ferguson.
There's a lot of good tight ends.
Ferg Dog Night.
I like Ferguson. I just think a lot more tight ends have like one guy, for example, I'll say before we close up, the one guy that I'm disappointed that I haven't got any of that I really wanted some this year was Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is going to have a great year, and I'm disappointed I haven't gotten any of them. But with that being said, maybe there's still some time for me to draft. Thanks for joining us, guys. Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace out, everyone.